What did I say about Tracy Cortez not being on her level and this matchup not being as interesting as the Barber fight, not being as big of a challenge? I mean, y'all said Tracy would be a tougher fight, which clearly I don't think she would be a tougher fight than Macy Barber. But can I just say this? This is the best Rose Namajunas has looked in years, in a long time. This is the most dominant I've ever seen Rose. I know I'm glazing, but I've been a Rose Namajunas fan for a long time, since 2017. And I know the quality of opponent makes it seem less impressive, but the fact that it's Rose doing that to somebody that she should be doing that to, separating herself from the level of competition she's facing, looking like that just says a lot where Rose is at right now, okay? Because for the past few years, she's been having close fights. Outside of like these first round flashy finishes, she hasn't been able to look dominant. I understand she's facing high level competition, but even still, close fights that people are, saying could have gone the other way, or other fights that had asterisks beside them, like, oh, she would have lost if there was more time, like the Jessica fight. Close fight with Carla, who she should have beaten, loses that fight in one of the worst performances of her life and one of the most boring fights in MMA history. And then even, she put up a good effort against Manon, but, she looked good, but didn't at the same time and lost. And then against Rebus, she didn't look that good. She won, but it was too competitive for my liking. Like, she should have destroyed Rebus. So I wasn't satisfied with that performance. I am satisfied with this performance. She looked dominant, striking, wrestling, grappling, like everywhere this fight went. It was all Rose. Now, yeah, Tracy had a few moments where she would land, but Rose was in control the whole time. And the one round that Cortez won, which I would say is like the fifth round, Rose already knew she had it in the bag, so she kind of just let that slide. And maybe she slowed down a little bit, and Cortez showed that Mexican fighting spirit like I knew she would, but she just wasn't good enough, man. She just wasn't good enough. Round one, Rose continues to add to her collection of knockdowns. I think she has a record of, the most knockdowns in women's strawweight history. I know this isn't strawweight, but again, it feels good seeing Rose drop someone again. Now, she couldn't get the finish. She got a little too excited, jumped in the guard. Tracy was able to close the guard, control the guard, not get her head taken off or finished. I thought it was going to be done, but Rose kept that composure, stayed in control of that round when they were back on the feet. I thought round two was kind of getting away from Rose, but then she finished with a takedown, clear win in that second round. And then I thought she dominated round three. Cortez is the wrestler in this matchup, the grappler. If anyone should have had a wrestling grappling advantage, it was Tracy Cortez, the bigger, stronger flyweight. Yet she couldn't stop a single takedown from Rose. And every time Rose took her down, apart from the fifth round, Cortez was not able to get back to her feet and just got absolutely manhandled and controlled easily. And then there was one moment in the third where she could have got up, but she decided she tried to do some lateral drop, which was dumb. Typical WMMA low IQ move. Cortez showed horrible fight IQ. Yeah, she pressured, but there were no takedown attempts behind it. She just kind of would accept the fact that Rose's takedown defense was too good and that her footwork was too good, and wouldn't at least try to clinch and wear her out in the clinch. She's like, okay, you defended, you got up. I'm gonna, respect you and not try to take you down again. And she literally waited till the fifth round to turn up and use a bit of wrestling, which was frustrating to watch on the side of Tracy Cortez. But again, she was never going to win this fight. She's not on Rose's level. And Rose wins the fight 49-46, 48-47 on one judge's card. But yeah, now we can move on. And also I want to say, a lot of people were giving Rose flack for being boring. This fight was not boring. It was pretty exciting. Tracy took the fight to Rose. Rose took the fight to Tracy and put on a clinic. And I just gotta ask, how did she lose to Carla Esparza that second time? The first time, I get it, she's young, immature. Second time, what Rose did to Cortez, she should have been able to do to Carla Esparza. And I don't care if Carla beat her twice. Rose Namajunas has the better legacy. She's more accomplished than Carla Esparza. And when it's all said and done, Rose is going to go down as a legend and a future Hall of Famer. And Carla will be forgotten or remembered as the girl who always had boring fights and, or robbery decisions, but was never all that. I don't care what you guys say. And, man, if Rose Namajunas mentally could keep it together and was still in the strawweight division, she'd still be champion right now, I believe. Like, Rose at her absolute best is a problem, even for the current strawweight champion. But, okay, back to the point I was about to make. Now we move on. I think it's time to reschedule the Macy Barber fight. I do not want that fight to get away. It has to be next. And make it a 5-round fight. I don't want it to be a 3-rounder. 5-round main event, whether it be in the Apex or another arena, crowd fight night, whatever. It's got to be a 5-round main event, because that fight is a banger, and that's not a fight that I want to see be a short 3-rounder. I got to see the full thing. That fight would be a straight-up war, and I would be interested to see how it would play out. Or they could, make her fight Blanchfield, which, now that I think of it, I think she would probably beat Erin Blanchfield low-key. I didn't think so before. I think so now. But Rose did say she wants a title shot, which, hey, I'm not opposed. I mean, she could fight Grasso in the Sphere. She could fight her in the Sphere, because Valentina, she don't want it. She don't want to fight on Mexican Independence Day. I know Manon Fiorot is like the rightful #1 contender outside Val, but man, that Rose Grasso fight seems tempting. But you know what? That fight will happen when it's meant to happen. I believe it will happen. If it happens, I mean, I know I love both, but I'm going to be pulling for Alexa Grasso right now. But I do think Rose might actually be a good challenge for Alexa. A long, rangy striker, good boxing, and the threat of the grappling. Because her takedowns or grappling is pretty good. So that would be a tough fight for Alexa Grasso. I think Rose might pose not the same problems, but similar problems that Shevchenko posed in those two fights. But anyway, great performance by Rose. Glad she got this win and looked better than ever. Finally had a dominant win outside of a first-round knockout. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and peace.